Hello. So the first question would be, what's the story of developing the idea of Amboss?
Amboss was founded in 2012 by 3 medical students who are now doctors. And it was mainly developed because they were studying for their finals and they didn't have any resources that were according to the 21st century. They didn't grow up with smartphones, but it was a crucial part or a big part of their lives, obviously. And they didn't have any resources that could make studying in a really efficient way. So when they were done with their finals, they were always talking about, we should do this ourselves and we can probably do this better. And one of the guys had a background in software engineering, and they started with developing Amboss after they took their finals and said, okay, what is it, what are the needs of medical students and how can we approach this? So they took all the questions from the previous years and built learning cards around these questions to cover the topics that were asked in previous years. And then they wrote commentaries for every answer option, and this is pretty much how it went. And in 2014 it went through the roof, and over 90% of the medical students in Germany are using Amboss to study for their finals.
And how Amboss helps a medical student becoming a 5-star specialist?
If you really take the 4 keystones of the WHO, it's relevance, quality, cost effectiveness, and equity, I think. Amboss mainly helps with the first 3 pillars of this whole concept, I think, because relevance, you can only treat what's important if you have the factual knowledge to know if a patient has a heart attack, not to, I don't know, lower the cholesterol in his blood in this acute moment. And the same goes for quality. You can only ensure that the quality is maintained at a high standard if you have the background. So the factual knowledge that you gain during med school is really a crucial part of your later clinical competence. There are studies that show that this, as well as experience, are the main keystones to be a good doctor in the end. Then cost effectiveness is basically a combination of the first 2. So if you do a lot of unnecessary treatment options or unnecessary diagnostics, this is obviously not cost effective. So only if you have the factual knowledge, you can really, know what to treat first and what's relevant. And the last one is equity. This is probably hard. I mean, you cannot simply learn it and you cannot read it out of a textbook. So you have to be an experienced doctor, engage yourself in social programs in your city, and to ensure that really everyone receives good healthcare and has access to good healthcare.
And during the process of developing the app, you went through a lot of different steps. And my question would be about the feedback, how you improved the app, and do you have any idea how we can encourage medical students, give feedback about the curriculum, about the studies, and is there a way to encourage them and make them interested to fill the forms and give the feedback?
So I would say we get a lot of feedback for our system. So there are a lot of students who feedback us and give us real good information, what we could do better or what is already very good. So we can use that very well, and we really love to get feedback. And yeah, I have the experience that you shouldn't force a student to give feedback. So I think there are a lot of students who like to share their ideas or their experience with the system or hear the curriculum. And yeah, I would just trust that there are enough students who like to say their opinion, and I think these opinions are really worthy, and yeah, we really enjoy the feedbacks, I would say.
I mean, especially here, you can see there are so many students who really engage in developing the curriculum, and although it's always nice to get feedback from everyone, it's maybe hard to maintain that standard and then rather focus on the ones that already give a lot of feedback and yeah, who are interested in developing this further. But obviously there are techniques. We have a feedback button at every section, so it's very easy. You just have to press the thumbs up or thumbs down. You can write something if you want to, but you don't have to. I once heard that you can have a QR code at the very end of a lecture or a seminar, and people can just scan the QR code and answer 5 questions. So if you make it short and if you make it really accessible, then you will probably get more people to engage in the development of the curriculum.
And to your mind, what's the advantages of doing medical research?
So yeah, I would say that to be a good doctor, you just have to be on focus, and you have to know what's new and what, yeah, how to treat a condition, and you always have to be on the highest and newest standard. And I think it's important to show the people and the students that that your role as a physician is very important, and part of it is just to be up to date. And yeah, I think that's the most important thing, to give the student the idea that your work really matters, and so there are human lives in your hand, and you always have to be up to date.
You won't be able to read a study and know the statistics if you've never done it yourself or worked with it. So,
and I would say it would be important. I don't know how it is here, but in Germany we don't learn that really good in university, and I think it would be a good strategy to teach students the techniques, how to read a paper or study in university. So I think that would be a good idea.
And is there a way to encourage medical students in the process of doing research and doing the actual writing papers, collecting data?
Yeah, there are a couple of ways. I mean, first, I know that the associations, I'm pretty sure that LiMSA does this as well. They have programs for teaching medical students how to, for example, apply for a job in research and how to write a paper. So there are seminars that you can take. And another thing would be, this is not really interesting for medical students right now, but if they become doctors, to be aware of the fact that they are a role model for other medical students or for younger students or for other doctors as well, and to always present yourself in a really good way and say, do research, it's important, and to be a good example. So people yeah, want to follow their lead, kind of.
Maybe you can give us, tell a few points how non-governmental organizations help students realize their ideas. Or
every medical student probably has some issue that he or she cares about. Everyone has that. And instead of thinking, okay, what can I do? What can I change? My change won't have an impact. Really think, okay, I'm responsible for every single step of the way. I can change a lot of things. If a lot of people in a lot of different places all over the world would change something, then there would be a huge change. So keep in mind that it starts with baby steps, but at some point you will be able to achieve your goal and really make a change in society. And so if there's stuff that you do care about, then yeah, engage in NGOs, or I don't know, go to a refugee camp and engage in some way of improving public health. Yeah, don't don't say to yourself, I cannot do anything, but rather say, okay, there's something to change, and I have the whole skill set to make that change. I'm in med school, and I went so far, so I can go even one step further, and it's one step at a time.